This is the story of a very unusual man. A man who, in modern terms, earned hundreds of thousands of dollars annually as a stockbroker, yet one day gave it all up. A man who had 5 children, yet still left his family behind and walked away. His name was Paul Gauguin. All the paintings shown here are works by Paul Gauguin, and some scenes in this video feature animations created from his paintings. In the present day, a single painting of his can sell for hundreds of millions. But while he was alive, he often struggled to afford even a simple meal and worked as a laborer to survive. His life was truly dramatic. So today, we will follow his story from beginning to end. Paris, in the year 1873. Paul Gauguin was 25 years old and already a successful stockbroker, working at the Paris Stock Exchange. He earned what would equal hundreds of thousands each year. He lived in a luxurious apartment in the heart of Paris and was married to a Danish woman named Mette, with whom he had 5 children. His home was filled with paintings, an impressive collection of Impressionist art that he had personally gathered. Works by Pissarro, Manet, and Cézanne hung proudly on his walls. Looking at those paintings, he must have thought quietly to himself one simple thought: I want to paint like this. But for Gauguin, painting remained only a simple weekend hobby. On weekends, he took out paints, made a few pictures for fun, showed them to friends nearby, and received a few compliments. That was all it meant. Then came the year 1882. The Paris stock market suddenly crashed. An economic crisis swept across the entire country. Gauguin's income was suddenly cut almost completely in half. And then something unusual happened. Most people, when income falls, decide they must work harder. But Gauguin reached another conclusion. He simply said one sentence: "Then I will become a painter." He was already 35 years old and the father of 5 children. Yet he calmly announced he would become a full-time artist. His wife, Mette, must have been completely shocked. "Paul, we have 5 children." But Gauguin refused to reconsider. He picked up his paintbrush, quit working at the stock exchange, and began trying to sell paintings. Of course, nobody bought them. Soon, the family could no longer afford to continue living in Paris. They moved instead to Copenhagen to stay with Mette's family. For Mette, this situation must have felt deeply humiliating. Her once successful husband had failed as a painter, and now they depended entirely on help from her parents. Gauguin even worked as a traveling canvas salesman, selling waterproof tarpaulin cloth. Imagine the pride of a man who dreamed of being an artist, now knocking on doors daily, trying to sell simple tarps. He barely spoke the Danish language and felt the silent judgment of his wife's disappointed relatives. Meanwhile, his children remained hungry. After only 6 difficult months, Gauguin finally made a decision. He would leave everything behind. He left his wife and children behind and returned to Paris alone. The year was now 1885. And Gauguin was 37. And this moment marked the beginning of his real suffering. Back in Paris, Gauguin had almost no money remaining. Many days he literally went hungry. Some days he could not afford even a single proper meal. Still, he continued painting, hoping someone would buy his work. But nobody purchased anything, and art dealers ignored him completely. Eventually, he decided to leave France. In 1887, Gauguin sailed to Panama, where the Panama Canal was still under construction. Under the blazing tropical sunlight, the former Paris stockbroker became a manual construction laborer. He dug earth and carried stones beneath the burning tropical sun. He nearly died from malaria while enduring countless hardships. Later, he traveled to Martinique, a small French island nearby, where he continued painting briefly. And there, something changed. The colors of the tropics suddenly struck him powerfully. Brilliant colors filled his vision. Blue, red, yellow, everywhere. Not the gray skies of Europe, but colors bright enough to pierce directly into the eyes. Those colors remained deep inside his memory. Eventually, he returned again to the city of Paris. Around this time, he received an unexpected letter. The letter came from Vincent Van Gogh himself. "Gauguin, please come to Arles. I have rented a house here. Let us live together and paint every day. My brother Theo will support us while we build an artist's community. Van Gogh admired Gauguin deeply and even called him a truly great painter. He prepared a special room, decorated carefully for Gauguin. Sunflower paintings covered the walls because he believed Gauguin would enjoy seeing them there. Gauguin hesitated for some time. Van Gogh's intense personality made him feel slightly uncomfortable, but he had little money and very few options left. So in October 1888, Gauguin arrived in Arles, a quiet town in southern France. The small house they shared later became famous worldwide as the Yellow House. At first, everything went well. They painted together outdoors and spent evenings talking in cafes. But their personalities differed greatly. Gauguin remained cold and calculating, carefully managing every small expense. He recorded every purchase inside a detailed ledger. Van Gogh behaved completely differently. Whenever he had money, he immediately spent everything on drinks, paint supplies, and long nights in cafes. Soon, they constantly argued about painting and artistic ideas. One night, Van Gogh admitted his admiration for the painter Millet. Gauguin immediately mocked the idea. Millet feels sentimental and childish. For Van Gogh, this comment was deeply painful to hear. He had admired Millet since his earliest childhood years. Every night, the two painters drank absinthe inside cafes while discussing art passionately. Arguments quickly became loud fights. The townspeople often whispered quietly, "Those two foreign painters are fighting again tonight." This tense situation continued for 63 exhausting days. Then came December 23rd, 1888. That night, they argued again. Finally, Gauguin spoke firmly. "I am leaving Arles tomorrow." For Van Gogh, those words completely shattered his heart. Gauguin walked outside the house into the cold night air. He heard footsteps approaching behind him. Turning around, he saw Van Gogh walking toward him with a razor. Gauguin stared back coldly. Van Gogh suddenly froze in place, then slowly turned away. Later that same night, Van Gogh cut off his ear. He wrapped the ear carefully inside a small piece of paper and delivered it to a woman working at a nearby brothel. The horrifying story shocked everyone, and Gauguin, the next morning, quietly boarded a train to Paris without saying any farewell. He left no letter behind. The two men never met again. After returning to Paris, Gauguin grew deeply disgusted with European society itself, a society that praised civilization, yet ignored starving artists. So he made another decision. He would leave civilization entirely. In the year 1891, Gauguin sailed far away to the island of Tahiti. He imagined discovering a pure, untouched paradise. But when he finally arrived, Tahiti was already controlled by the French colonial government. Soldiers were stationed everywhere. Disease had spread across communities, and traditional culture had weakened. The paradise he imagined no longer truly existed. But Gauguin did something unusual. He decided to paint paradise anyway, even if it existed only inside his imagination. His canvases exploded with colors: blue, yellow, red, and green. He ignored perspective completely and abandoned realistic proportions. Instead, he painted emotions, not simple physical reality. Life in Tahiti remained difficult. He lived with very young, local women on the island, a decision widely criticized today. Still, he continued painting constantly and mailed his work to Paris. Yet still, nobody seemed interested. Then, terrible news reached him. His daughter, Aline, had died from pneumonia. Gauguin collapsed emotionally. Soon, he fell into addiction and suffered from severe illness. Painful ulcers covered his legs, making it difficult to walk. He was sick, poor, and alone. Finally, he decided to die. Before ending his life, he wished to create one final painting. For nearly an entire month, he barely ate or slept while painting a massive canvas over 4 meters wide. On the right side, a newborn baby appeared. In the center, people lived their ordinary human lives. On the left side, an old woman faced death. Above the painting, Gauguin wrote 3 questions. Where do we come from? What are we today? Where are we going? After finishing the painting, he climbed into a mountain cave, carrying a bottle of arsenic. He swallowed the poison, but strangely, he did not die. His body violently rejected the poison he had taken. He survived the attempt. Even suicide had failed. For several more years, he lived miserably on the island, sick, poor, and isolated. Finally, on May 8th, 1903, a neighbor discovered Gauguin dead inside his bed. He was 54 years old and completely alone. Then, something strange happened. After Gauguin's death, Paris art dealers suddenly began praising his work. They called him the savage who rejected civilization. They called him the noble artist seeking purity. The same people who ignored him while he was alive now transformed him into legend. His paintings rapidly increased in extraordinary value. One of his works eventually sold for nearly $300 million. The paintings of a man who once could not afford food. Gauguin never found the paradise he searched for. He lost his family, friends, and eventually even his health. But through everything, he never stopped painting. Hungry, sick, and desperate, he continued holding the brush. And today, those brushstrokes belong to the cultural heritage of all humanity. The question he painted still remains with us. Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Paul Gauguin spent his life asking these questions through art, and his story leaves us wondering, how powerful must art be for someone to risk everything in its pursuit? Please like and subscribe for good luck.